Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing November beauty favorites. This is get ready with me style, and I have a ton of stuff that I haven't talked about on my channel before, so I felt like this was the best way to film it so I can just be really chatty and kind of talk through the reasons why I'm really loving all of these products. Some of them are newer than others, but I've got a lot of really good stuff. It's a totally full face of favorites. Okay, so I laminated my brows last night. I am very 50-50 on it. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. The reason I did it was because I feel like my brows grow straight out of my face, and sometimes from like side angles I could see my brows and it would almost make the tail look like it was double-ended. I know. So I thought that it would relax my brows, which it definitely did, but I also kind of feel like it made my brows look thinner. So I don't really know what I think yet. I think it's pretty crazy that I don't have any brow product in yet. I haven't styled them. I literally just did it last night at like 10 p.m. So today will be the first time that I actually try styling them with you, so we'll see how they look when I put some brow gel in. But it's kind of crazy to me because I can literally like shape them with just a spoolie, and there's no like tint or anything in them. So I kind of like it. There's things I don't like about it. Like I said, the thinness aspect, I feel like it almost like made each brow hair feel a little bit more thin. Pretty crazy. I don't know. There's like literally nothing in my brows right now, so I thought that was pretty wild. Okay, so moving into makeup, I do have a little bit of this on my face right now, and I was like, oh, I want to put it in the video because I love it. So it's the Dior Forever Glow Veil. I think you can tell in the bottle, it's got this really nice white pearly effect to it. Like I said, I have it on my skin right now, but I'm going to do a second layer so you can really see it. It goes on pretty white, but I think this has such a beautiful, noticeable brightening effect on my skin, and I love how it like smooths out my texture. Such a nice like lifted, almost like bouncy effect to the skin, and obviously like it brightens crazy good. So I love this, and I think it makes makeup go on really nice as well. Now the foundation that I've been super impressed with has been Glossier Stretch. I love this. I think that this is so good, especially for like a Glossier product. It has incredibly buildable coverage. So I wear the shade medium 3 in this. I think it works well with like brush or sponge. A full pump is really gonna give you great coverage. So I'm just gonna apply this all over the skin. Okay, so I'm gonna blend this out. I'm using a Chanel 102 brush. Shade match is also really perfect for my skin tone. Glossier has several different shades of medium, several different shades of tan. Like you have to kind of do a little bit of guesswork, and I was actually really worried that this wasn't gonna fit me because it looks kind of darker, but it matches and it blends really nice. And I think that is also attributed to the fact that the Stretch foundation is quite flexible. So honestly, maybe more than one shade would still work because you can, you know, sheer it out. So that's like one light layer, just kind of evening out my skin tone, and then I'll take the rest of the pump, and I'd like to put this wherever I feel like I need some extra help. And honestly, I do think if you like Glossier Stretch Concealer, the foundation has similar characteristics that the Stretch Concealer has, but the Stretch Concealer is obviously much more like radiant and dewy, and it's gonna have a lot more of a like shiny finish on the skin, whereas the Glossier one, it's a more tame skin-like finish. It still looks really nice and moisturized on the base, but it's not as, you know, shiny as the Stretch Concealer. And I was kind of hoping it was gonna be ultra dewy like the Stretch Concealer. I feel like this is still such a nice like everyday set down on the skin. It looks really good, right? Like it's a really, really pretty foundation. I'm super impressed with it. I've been obsessed with this concealer. So it's the Givenchy Skin Caring Concealer. I use 2 different shades. One shade for concealing the face and then one shade for brightening. So my concealing shade is W310. Again, literally like a spooky, perfect match for my skin. It hides all of these little, you know, post-acne hyperpigmentation marks and anything that I really want to get rid of blends away into my skin perfectly. So I'm super impressed by the shade match on this one. And then the brightening shade that I use is N280, and I use this just for like a little bit of lift around the eyes in certain areas. So anywhere I want, you know, just like a little pop, that's where I put the concealer. And it has a really nice lightweight formula. So I still like to do the same thing where I'll let this sort of chill for a few minutes on my skin before I go in and start blending it out. And then I just start by pressing those right in place. Literally makes all the spots disappear because it's such a good shade match for my skin. I'm really, really impressed with this concealer. And then I'll blend out the lighter one. just blend out one side under the eyes so you can kind of see. It like almost brightens my eye so much to the point that I feel like it just makes my eye look lifted. It's really nice. And this brush, by the way, is a Bobbi Brown full coverage brush. Okay, so then there's the other side where I did a little bit of lift right there. It's beautiful. And I was honestly just kind of looking at the concealer. I wasn't really planning on getting it. But when I was at Sephora, the like Givenchy makeup artist was there. And he helped me shade match and everything. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it because he said it would look really good on my skin. And it does. And I like it for all the reasons he said I was going to like it. It's just easy to use and it looks really pretty. The coverage is full and really pretty, but it doesn't feel heavy. And I really like the way it looks underneath the eyes, which I'm super picky about. So I love that. So I think I found my favorite stick contour ever that I've tried so far. It's the Westman Atelier Face Trace. I wear the shade Truffle. It's a cream. I really want to do a full face of Westman Atelier. I have quite a few products now, so I think I'm pretty close to having a full face of products that I can use for a video, like as a deep dive on this brand, but I've really been liking the contour specifically, and then doing like more of a vertical contour. I feel like it gives noticeable lift. I always like to do just a touch on the outer corner of the eye, a little bit around the temple. I do my nose contour with this as well. Most of the time I like using like an angled brush to blend it out. This is a Chanel 109 or something like this. This is the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe brush. Either of these will work really well. The IT Cosmetics one is actually a foundation brush, so sometimes I find this to be a little bit more of a quick application. This shade is also perfect. Like, it's a little bit warm. It's not too cool toned. I feel like anything that's like too neutral on my skin, it just doesn't work. And then for like the nose and the eyes, I just do a smaller brush. It just snatches the face in a really natural way. Like, obviously you still want to get some definition and contour, but you don't want to do like a crazy aggressive contour because that's not the vibe anymore. It really adds some shape to my face. I love it. I actually have two Haus Labs products that I want to mention. We'll come back to the highlight during that portion, but the bronzer. This is the Haus Labs Powder Sculpt Velvet Bronzer. I have it in the shade Light Level 3. Really good winter shade for me. This bronzer is a powder, but it goes on like a cream. It's so beautiful. So I'm going to use a Dior number 14 brush. And this just adds the right amount of warmth to my skin tone right now without making me look like overly bronzed. The powders from Haus Labs have a really unique slickness to them. They almost feel oily. And I mean that in a good way because they blend over your skin so nicely. And I just think they give you a really nice kind of like blurred airbrushed effect. This bronzer also isn't particularly glowy, so I do really like that about it. And I always knock that into the crease of my eye. I feel like it makes a really big difference. Even if you're wearing another shadow in the crease of your eye, this just adds definition and kind of brings the whole face together. See how this, it's subtle, but it just, the final look, it makes everything go together really nicely. So I just always do a little wash of bronzer on the eyelid. I feel like we're all super excited. The Mario Ethereal Eyes palette was re-released. I do have one of the originals, so I want to kind of do a comparison because I know a lot of people have said they're different. This is the new version. I love it, and I think that this palette specifically, like all these tones and everything, you're going to be able to achieve that like Sugar Plum Fairy, Swan Princess. That's the vibe for winter this year. And with the shimmers in this palette, I think it makes it super easy. So I'm going to do a look with this really quick just to show you. The mattes in this palette are very blendable. It's a different type of formula. I think if you haven't used the Ethereal Eyes palette before, but you've used Mario's other palettes, like the Master Mattes, that's one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes of all time. And the formula in these mattes is still slightly different than the Master Mattes. There's also the Master Metallics, and the metallics in this I still feel like are different than the ones in Master Metallics. They have their own unique formula. These are almost kind of, if you took like a loose powder, that's kind of what I would say the blendability is like, but they're pressed. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a really unique formula. They almost go on the eyes kind of like a moussey powder. I'm gonna take this like pinky color right here, and I'm gonna pop that on the lid, just on the eyelid space, and then once I get close to the crease, I'm gonna blend it away. I'm gonna use a clean blending brush to do this. Zoeva 227, and then my blending brush is a Sedona Lace 863. I'm gonna take this brown shadow from the palette. This is a Bobbi Brown Touch Up brush. I'm gonna use this right on the outer corner just to kind of deepen that up a bit. I am very into the winter trend aesthetic right now for makeup. I think it's very whimsical and, like I said, just kind of like Sugar Plum Fairy, princess. Like, I like that look. Just with like the light crystal eye, and with any of these toppers you can really do that. So I think today I'm gonna use this one. It's more of the champagne-y one, and you want to put these on with your fingers. Like, do you see how wet that looks? It's incredible. And I will literally just press this along the eyes, on the lid. If you guys have gotten the Ethereal Eyes palette and you still have the original, or if you've compared the two, I'd love to know your thoughts. Looking at them side by side, I feel like there's slight variations in color, but I need to do like side by side swatches of them to see if it's actually that much different. Ooh, and I really wanted to show you guys this. So this is from Trish McAvoy. It's called the Finish Line, and this is a shadow transformer. So I love using this to take some of my favorite brown eyeshadows and turn them into liquid eyeliners. So what I like to do is take my brush. This is a little Chanel 206 brush. I'm gonna do a drop of Finish Line on the back of my hand. It's right there. Get my brush wet, and then just on the edge of the shadow pan so I don't kind of muddy up the whole pan. So like right there, and then with like an angled brush or a liquid eyeliner brush, you can literally turn your eyeshadow into eyeliner. Eyeliner brush is also phenomenal. You can really get like right down to the root of your lashes and do super precise liners. This just made me think that I need to try this with like a metallic or like a shimmer or a glitter, and try to do like a glitter eyeliner. We'll have to try that, but yeah, this has been great. Moving into blush, this is Seychelles from Buxom. Stunning. Really luminous, really gorgeous. I love how I can wear basically like a ton of this and it's never over the top. It's got a really good amount of pigment though, so actually tread lightly the first few applications because it packs a little bit more punch than I was expecting. Primer infused blush. It's part of the Wanderlust line. And the color is like one of the nudes of my dreams. So the highlight I've really been liking from House Labs, this is the shade Sunstone. I also have Golden Pyrite. This one's a little bit more better for my skin tone right now. Look at that. I mean, they're intense, but they can also be sheared out really lovely and not look quite as crazy. So I like to take some sort of like loose dense brush. I'm gonna use a NARS Yachio brush. Lightly tap into this, and then I want like a kiss of highlight. But I think it's pretty crazy how this can be like super beamed up and intense, but it shears out so nice, because usually really intense highlights they're borderline difficult to work with and they emphasize texture. Again, this one has that unique kind of like gel-like formula for being a powder where it goes on really nice and slick, and it gives you a really nice radiant sheen. So I just like putting that like on all the high points. I always love to do a little Cupid's bow highlight. This is the Merit shadow brush, and I'm just gonna put it right on the inner corners as well, and a little bit to highlight the brow bone. It's so good. It's like glazy, but not over the top. Like, it's a really nice, like healthy kind of glazed donut skin. I love the way the light hits it on top of the makeup. I think it's so pretty. Watch this. My eyebrows would never do this in the past. Like, they just have this weird, they're just like able to be manipulated all of a sudden. I would have never been able to do that, and then they just brush upward so easy. Okay, anyway, enough playing around. I'm just nervous. Okay, so I'm gonna put this through the brows. I'm almost like, do I even need gel anymore? Okay, so if I kind of like skim the top, I like the way that looks. I feel like I usually like them a tad fluffier. Okay, my camera died. But all I've done is I curled my lashes and then I put on some of the Too Faced Better Than Sex Foreplay primer. I wanted to show you the demo, so I'll use this in another video again, but I really like focusing this on the ends of my lashes to really give them length, but it also holds a curl. It's not waterproof, but it's one of the only things that will actually hold a curl in my lashes all day. So even if I wear this on its own, like just as a mascara, I think it's phenomenal. It's so good, but if I want to use it as a primer, I'll just focus it on the ends of my lashes and it really extends the length of my lashes. And I like how it's like kind of wispy, gives the illusion of like thicker lashes as well. I just think it's really good. I'm obsessed with it. But the mascara that I have been so obsessed with, I've already bought a second tube of it because I used one up entirely and I got that back in like July or something, is the Dior Show. You guys know this is my absolute favorite mascara ever, but it's in Catwalk Brown. This is one of the only true brown mascaras I've ever found. A lot of times I feel like brown mascaras are brown black. They're not like that nice chocolatey brown shade. This one is the best of both worlds because it's a really gorgeous chocolate brown, especially if you see it in the sunlight. It really makes a brown eye pop. It's snowing outside the window right now, so it's a little bit dreary and it's not gonna really show how gorgeous and brown this is, but it is stunning. And best of both worlds, like I was saying, because it's waterproof. So it really holds a curl nicely. I think that's one of the other things that I've noticed. A lot of the brown mascaras that I want to try, they're not available in waterproof form, and if I don't have a waterproof mascara, it's like not going to be used to its full potential for me. I really need that like waterproof formula. It's soft, but it still gives drama and definition. And seriously, you guys, brown makes brown pop. So I did want to share this setting spray. I've really been liking it. It's from the brand Liss. Typically I would never think I would like a setting spray like this, but because it has a natural finish, so it blurs, mattifies, and sets, I really like it for this time of year, and I feel like it actually makes my makeup last a lot longer. And because it's like, you know, windy and it's winter time and stuff, it doesn't leave my face with a sticky base, so my hair doesn't get like stuck in my makeup, which I find to be really nice, and I really think it helps with longevity as well. Once it sets down, it's gonna get rid of that like shinier finish, but I love this. It has a really nice powderiness to it. We do have quite a few lip products to talk about. This was repurchased last month by me because I used one up. It's Chanel number 162. I can't find a dupe for it. I really would love to because it's very pricey, but the tone of it is really great for my skin tone, for adding that little bit of extra definition, and it's the shade specifically that I really can't get enough of. Actually, really funny story about this Chanel lip pencil. This is like years ago, like 5-6 years ago. There was this woman who I met and we were talking about makeup. She worked at Walgreens and she was telling me like one of the things she cannot give up is her Chanel number 162, and she was wearing it and I was like, it looks so beautiful on you, and she had a similar complexion and hair color to me, so I was like, I feel like that would work on me. And ever since her, I have been just as obsessed with it. And she said like it is the one lip pencil that she repurchases all the time, and I'm like, okay, now I'm turning into this lady. I can't stop repurchasing it either. I reached for a ton of lip products, and I don't know if I'm gonna mention all of them because I might come back to it and be like, oh, you actually didn't wear that much, but I do want to start off with this because I know this is really buzzy right now. It's the e.l.f. Glow Reviver lip oil. These are more like glosses. If you've used the Say Glossy Bounce, that's what these remind me of the most. This is the shade Honey Talks. It is everything to me. It is a sheer milky nude. They have a slight like light tingling effect on the lips, and they feel so good. They're definitely more of a gloss oil versus like a true lip oil. So they're not as oily as the ones from Clarins or the ones from Dior. They don't have that complete slickness to them. I mean, the Dior one's actually pretty glossy too, but this is even more glossy than that, and the thing I can compare it to the most would be Say Glossy Bounce, but there's Honey Talks. She's perfect. I am so excited about this. So this is the Spark the Fire Plumping Lip Balm. It's in the shade LOL. This is Gwen Stefani's brand. This is the only thing I've tried. But I saw this on TikTok, and it was a Sephora employee saying that she thinks that these deserve more hype. And I can see why, because it is such a nice everyday color. It's perfect if you just want something that's gonna look a little bit more plush on your lips and not as intense. It's really gorgeous. And because it has plumping, if you leave it on for like 3 to 5 minutes, you'll start noticing all of the lines on your lips get smoothed out and you get this really nice kind of pouty look from it. So I love that, and I like the tingle. It's actually a pomegranate that causes the tingle, so I thought that was kind of interesting as well. This is from Dior. This is $49. It's the lip maximizer. I mean, how stunning and perfect is that for fall? It's like a caramel apple. I love the juicy shine that the Dior lip maximizers give, and again, plumping, so just like a nice little pouty moment. The two YSL Candy Glaze shades, I'll show you them side by side so you can see the difference in them. So this is shade 14, kind of like an oaky tobacco. Gorgeous. They're so shiny. And then this one is shade 15. This one's a little bit more of a beigey nude, but still I think deep enough to be like a fall winter color. This is 15 and this is 14. I've been obsessed with the Lily Rose Depp lip combo, so it's just the Chanel nude lip liner and then the Chanel Rouge Coco Flash in Boy. This is like, everybody's loving this right now because this is what she wore as Jocelyn on The Idol, and it's such a good lip combo. Boy is like a cool toned seashell beige, but it's still really flattering on a warm skin tone. I don't know what it is about this like combo. It really works. Put a little bit of gloss on top and I feel like it's so good. Okay, so that is everything I wanted to mention for today's favorites. I will list and link everything in the description box down below for you. Let me know your thoughts on Get Ready With Me and kind of like filming a longer chatty Get Ready With Me for like a favorites video, or do you prefer more of the casual sit down where I just talk about the products? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. I'll have my other socials in the description box, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye everyone.